Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Alcatraz, and he's in the Kurfürst, a tier 10 German battleship. He's on a Crash Zone Alpha. It's a 4-point domination game, and there are 2 submarines, so nobody's excited. Anyway, speaking of more exciting things, there is an enemy Schlieffen pushing in, and this means secondary duels and probably torps. Now he's activating his Hydro because, you know, that Schlieffen is most certainly gonna torp. There's even a second Schlieffen somewhere in the rear that we haven't currently spotted. And he's holding his fire. Honestly, I think he's expecting the Schlieffen to turn and he wants to get broadside hits, but you could just shoot like the Schlieffen from the front. Although it's almost turned here. Like the Schlieffen does have an impressive icebreaker on its nose. You can still overmatch the upper part of the nose, so you can always just go for the superstructure. That's a nice hit. And I mean, you know, with all the friendly firepower here, that Schlieffen is gonna melt relatively quickly. That Schlieffen is most certainly overextending. And it's falling into the, I guess, German battleship trap of people just thinking they can just push because of the great secondaries. But if you are that aggressive, you're just gonna get melted. Right, the Schlieffen has no support. You can see the other team members here are far in the back, and well, meanwhile there are some torpedoes coming. Now Alcatraz is gonna speed up here, probably trying to go for this gap. Looks a bit tricky. I think it's doable. He's turning too much. I think he might have decided to not go for the gap, but try to avoid them entirely by running out of them. But he isn't quite fast enough for that. But I've certainly been in this same situation and done the exact same thing. But you know, it's one torp, it doesn't really hurt too much. So, speaking of hurting things, there is a Schlieffen incoming, and that Schlieffen is making the exact same mistake as the other Schlieffen, just slightly delayed. It decided just because it's a Brawling battleship, it can charge into 4 ships. That won't work very well. No, of course, there is always the chance that the Schlieffen gets the lucky torp hits in or something like that, but Schlieffen's just not tank enough for that. Now, interesting, Alcatraz has high explosive loading right now, and I don't think that's necessarily a good choice. Even angled, you know, you can hit the Schlieffen quite nicely with armor piercing, I would say. And with the fast damage con, it's not... And not just a fast damage con, it's with how quickly a Schlieffen is melting. Fires are not gonna be that relevant right now. So there is a fire on the Schlieffen, right? But the Schlieffen is gonna go down so fast that I don't think the fires will make all the difference. But regardless, that Schlieffen is... well, it's dead. It most certainly is dead. Meanwhile, there is a Vermont showing broadside. Keel is ready. He's started his range plan here. I'm not sure if he wants it to get better angles or if it was the wrong button when he wanted to heal. I mean, we've all been guilty of pressing the wrong button at times. But it's also certainly possible that he wanted it for... well, actually, he isn't using the camera right now, you see. Like these days, you can change the camera angle when you use a spotter plane. I think he's still like with a regular view. Be that as it may, the Vermont is also probably a little bit too aggressive here, just going through the middle, especially since the enemies don't really hold any of the flanks. Now Alcatraz is meanwhile considering going for the Napoli instead. The Napoli is obviously a cruiser and it's somewhat broadside, and once again he's holding his fire trying to get the better shots, but honestly I would have just shot the Vermont here, finish that off because it's getting pretty low. And that Napoli is not necessarily going to give you this broadside. I can often see the appeal of Like, if you have a cruiser, right, and you're convinced it's gonna turn to torpedo, holding your fire to get the nice, juicy broadside hit in. That Napoli is... I mean, it's now finally going broadside, possibly also trying to dodge some torpedoes. Hydro is running, though. And Alcatraz is expertly maneuvering. He didn't fall for the trap of using his rear guns, right? If he would have turned to keep using his rear guns, he would have eaten all of those torps. But instead, he made the smart choice and dodged the torps. And now he's waiting for the sail-by. That Napoli is out of torps and it's gonna sail into the perfect broadside position here. So, of course, the guns utterly disappoint. Welcome to German battleship life. Now he's gonna get another chance with his rear guns. He's also getting really low here, and there you go. That worked out a lot better. Still no citadels, but it doesn't matter. The enemy is down. Speaking of the enemy team is lobbing quite interestingly at the decap. Meanwhile, the friendlies that were at B together with Alcatraz... Oh crap, this is up. Well, anti-submarine warfare is on its way. He's trying to shoot the water here and it gets a quite decent hit. I think the depth charges will finish it off. So the sub got some torps off, but no ping. I mean, damage con would have been ready anyway. Of course, it doesn't necessarily need a ping. It has single launch torpedoes and the Kurfürst is a fat target, but it can squeeze by. Nicely done. Now, where was I? Yes, so the friendlies that were at the B cap earlier haven't advanced that much, although they are now pushing into A, and for some reason that Prince is still alive, despite the fact that it has probably engaging those two battleships for the past 5 minutes or so. Now, Alcatraz is getting a heal off. He was camping, but he decided he needs the cover of this island, and rightfully so. And unfortunately, this is the last heal, but there isn't that much from the enemy team remaining. So it's looking pretty good. What's not looking so good is the fact that there is a sub. But the sub is running out of dive capacity, so this sub might just be getting wrecked here. Well, reasonably. Unfortunately, it has avoided the depth charges, but unless it's diving, it's just gonna be pummeled by guns. Well, it is diving, isn't it? And it's no longer detected.
Torpedoes off backboard.
Meanwhile, there is a Friedrich that most certainly is detected. It's going after the poison. Not much of that Friedrich remaining though. So he is trying to aim on the minimap, I think, with his depth charges. You saw like he tried to position it in the path of the last spotted submarine position. And of course we will see if this works out or not. The sub can easily turn. Subs are very maneuverable and have very good turning circles, so it could have easily just gone left and right, something like that. Or I mean, for all we know, it just stayed there, or reversed. Now we've got another Hydro running, but of course a submarine that's diving can only be detected within 2 kilometers with Hydro. But the diving capacity was very low. So hopefully it will surface again soon. And then it could even be hydroed. Imagine that! Meanwhile, the friendly team seems to be winning this. There is still an unaccounted Yugumo, but Alcatraz is spotted. Well, he's spotted now, but there could be the sub. We have no clue where the Yugumo is right now. Of course, you know, the sub can just sit there outside the hydro range, keep spotting him, and then just, you know, ping him, single launch torp him, homing torp him. The detection has been cut off again. I presume it was the sub surfacing and diving, but once again... back. The Yugumo is back there somewhere. Well, you know, the concealment's pretty bad, so who knows. Meanwhile, we've seen the subs. There is the ping, there are the homing torps. He's dodging that with his damage con, and this time he might be getting the sub. There you go. So finally, the second sub has been dealt with, and that leaves the enemy just with 2 ships remaining. A very healthy Pommern at the zone wall, obviously. And an unaccounted Yugumo. Now the Yugumo is doing some detecting right now. From what we've seen with the troops, it's probably somewhere, I don't know, possibly a little bit south of the battleships in the north. Now there is a Kraken up for grabs, if he can finish off either the Pommern or the Yugumo. Of course, I don't know if that Yugumo is gonna show itself before it's over. The friendlies are gonna get very close to just winning this on points. And the Pommern is turning somewhat broadside. Of course, at 20 kilometers, I wouldn't have high expectations. But maybe he can smack it for some nice upper belt penetrations. Well, that was just Kurfürst accuracy at its best. Meanwhile, the Yugumo seems trying to top the other battleships. And another try on that Pommern. I mean, that Pommern is getting into a hit point range where one salvo could finish it off with a certain amount of luck, obviously. But, well, that's not the amount of luck. But there is a high caliber, and the next reload could very well be the Kraken. So it looks like he's trying to blind shoot the destroyer instead of the Pommern. I mean, I suppose he expected the Pommern to sink before his shells arrive, but you know, this Pommern would have been a potential crack. I would have most certainly gone for that. It doesn't matter in the greater sense of winning this game, but you know, Krakens are nice. And, well, it's over. Alcatraz earned himself 2,245 experience in this one, almost got the Kraken, and scored about 200,000 points of damage. So, nicely done. And, well, that was some lovely Kurfürst Brawling, and he even survived. Although it was a close one. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll see ya next time.